So last time we were talking about 20 miniatures that DMs can do for their first miniature set. But while I was talking about that, I mentioned that we wanted to avoid animals and dinosaurs in that 20 miniature set, even though they get used very commonly, and that's because they're very plentiful and you can get them a lot cheaper than you can other sorts of miniatures. Now, animals tend to get used a lot in various adventures, and I'm going to show you how those can be used to your advantage and what you can do about those. Now, remember, if you like this series and my videos on tabletop role-playing games in general, be sure to like this video, and also go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, you can just go ahead and subscribe right down there, okay? And we can continue doing more content like this. All right. Okay, so let's start first with animals. Now, animals are pretty easy. You can tend to get them in bulk from things like the dollar store or from tubes that have a whole bunch of little plastic animals in them. So we have here, just as an example, we have a panda. All I had to do was base that, and it's about the right size. So when you're shopping, you should be on the lookout for animals that are the correct sizing. So panda, of course, large size, that works. Another good example is this elephant here. Found this one at the dollar store, and this one just happened to be the correct size for huge size. Now, the same thing goes for dinosaurs. Really be on the lookout for dinosaurs that are the correct sizing. We have a Stegosaurus here that is a huge size. Just based it by using a piece of cardboard that was painted. You don't really have to get fancy with these, just as long as your players know how much room it's taking up. We also have an Ankylosaurus that seems to be dancing. This one was actually misglued. It's hilarious. When I saw this one, I just had to have it because they had the leg rising in there like the Ankylosaurus is dancing. So I thought it was cute. This also applies to other sorts of dinosaurs as well. Of course, most of the pterosaurs are a lot smaller, like medium size. So that works, as are a lot of raptors. They're going to be medium size, so that works. You'll be wanting to base these. Now, here, I basically have tiddlywinks. These make great miniature bases. And you can just go ahead and you can glue that into place, and it looks just like an ordinary miniature. You can get basically these tiddlywinks in bulk for exceptionally cheap. Same thing with little wooden chips. You can get packages of these. They aren't that pricey, and they can be used to base your minis. Another option for large size minis is actually poker chips. Now we have here a horse. Now horses are very plentiful. You can just go to the dollar store and you'll be able to find lots and lots of horses. Just make sure that they're about the correct size for a large size base, and you're going to be doing fine. Now, sometimes your miniatures are going to be of the wrong size, and that's great. And the reason I say that is sometimes you're going to want animals in giant size. They will work. A good example of this is this spider here. Now, this is a spider that's off of a little ring at Halloween. You can get packages of these that can be used to give out as treats for trick-or-treating. But if you cut off the ring portion of it, you can just base that and it becomes a giant spider. Same thing with this scorpion here. Again, you can base this, and it makes a wonderful giant scorpion. You can already think of wondrous encounters that you can be doing with that. Nice thing about this particular one is that it's glow in the dark, so you can actually have it pop out a little bit more, doing something a little bit more fancy by running your game under black light. That's something that I certainly love doing. Really cute, and it's especially effective if you're, let's say, doing a game in the Underdark, because everything is being illuminated by moss and so forth. Sometimes they'll come in bulk and they'll be very inexpensive, like this turtle here. This is hollow, but it's still going to get the point across. You can go ahead and base that miniature. You can actually even paint it afterwards if you wish. Now, it's not just animals that you might want to do this with. A good example is at the dollar store, I found He-Man here. Now, He-Man is the wrong sized for a normal sized miniature, for medium size. However, He-Man is going to make a great ogre or other form of giant kin. He's large sized, you can just put him on a base and it's going to work. Or you can, take a knife, take him off of the base that's here, or even use the same base that it's on. I mean, it's going to get the point across. And then you rebase or use the same base. All right, so now we've talked about miniatures that are good for giant sized and miniatures that are correct sized in animals and in dinosaurs. But let's say, for example, that you found a really cute miniature, but it's still wrong sized. It's okay, we got it covered. If we're doing 5e D&D, then this is actually covered in the DMG on page 250. The claim is, go ahead, use the wrong size miniature. In that case, it's still going to have the stats of a correct sized miniature. So, an example, this shark here is clearly going to be gargantuan sized, but I've based it as if it were huge, and it's going to play as if it were a huge miniature. That's fine. You can even modify it as you would like. Let's say I wanted to keep this as a huge miniature, just still keeping the same stats, or even tweak the stats if I want to. That's fine too. It's your game. The RPG police are not going to knock down your door. So anyway, I hope that this really helps on building your collection. Please let me know about all of your finds down in the comments, and I hope you have a great rest.